Hi, this is Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, and this is what's left of the Dawg Pound.
It's month end, man.
Oh, golly. Everybody's got somewhere to be. Our guests couldn't make it because there's a hurricane looming on Florida. The subject has changed several times. Facebook changed its algorithm. We've been scrambling to get this broadcast on. As a matter of fact, I want to go on the sidebar 1 second here and see if we are public.
Yeah, I was about to check the same thing.
Yeah, that might be a good thing. Okay, we're live. I see us. And it looks like it's not live. What the heck? Oh my gosh. Are we live on Facebook? I can't tell. I know we're live on several other channels right now, so let's just see what we got. All right, let's see. Oh my gosh. Facebook is still screwed up.
On your page, Jim, and it's live on Facebook.
Is it live on Facebook?
On your page, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing because I don't see it on what I'm looking at.
I mean, I just saw it.
Okay, I want to be live. Is it public?
That's it.
I mean,
we'll find out.
These are hard questions for me.
Well, see, Facebook's changed all their algorithms, and none of the streaming services can get on in the normal way. But are we broadcasting live, Jennifer?
I'm checking.
Oh.
I mean, I see it. I don't know if it's public or not, or if it's shareable, but I see it, and I'm going to like it right now. Boom.
Okay. Wait a second. I can see us now. Yes, I can. I had to click on it, believe it or not.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, because I was going to say it doesn't look like we're moving.
Right.
Yeah. You got to click on it. Oh, come on.
Yeah, and then it's live. It's really sneaking it.
Is it live on Facebook? Because I clicked it and it says
so
YouTube.
Jennifer, go to
I just made it public. I just made it public. I had to manually make it public.
Okay, because I was going to say, because it loaded YouTube for me.
Okay. We are live. I'm going to have to edit the heck out of this video for the replays.
Well, we're definitely live on LinkedIn because I see Roger saying
LinkedIn's got to be good. And I know YouTube is good. And Twitch is good. And we're live on Twitter, but Facebook is really messed up for the.
Are we streaming on Twitch now too, Jim? That's a
we're on Twitch. Just for SEO.
I feel young. I feel young when you say
it. Okay, this is the Dawg Pound. And this week, we've got to reduce staff because of hurricanes and people working in dealerships, and Facebook changed their algorithm. But live with us today, the Mad Russian himself, Max Zanan. Hello, Max.
Hey, Jim, good to be back. You know, I'm trying to keep my perfect attendance record.
Well, no, you missed one, didn't you?
Yeah, I missed a few.
But for court, I feel like he should get an exemption for that.
Right, I think
he should get an exemption. He was in court. What the heck? Okay, Max Zanan, the Mad Russian, the king of reinsurance. And I've often said one of the most brilliant people in the car business, my friend, Jennifer Briggs. Jennifer, where are you? What are you doing today? I see people walking behind you. You're in a dealership.
Listen. Today I am helping to run a Honda store down here in North Carolina. Had some staffing shortages as well. So
staffing shortage, and you are acting general manager this week.
I'm just selling cars, filling in, trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, always tell everybody that's all I do. Titles aren't as important, but. I've been fighting a lot of fires today, Jim. So maybe we should
Jen, as long as you're getting paid as an executive general manager. That's
It is, it's the commitment that this is the crazy thing. And we all know, right? Things come up, especially in the last week of the month, things get crazy. But, because of it being the last week, and we have some exciting news coming next week for this particular dealer group.
I know what it is.
No, you know what it is. It was just real important for me to come down here and make sure that I'm holding the team together. So that's what I'm doing. I actually just had to find a driver to go do something I promised a customer I would do so I could join you guys on the show today. So it all came together.
You are so loved. You are absolutely so loved. Today we're going to talk about things you do and do not do and say in a dealership today. I see dealerships getting prosecuted left and right. The Federal Trade Commission has issued a whole set of new guidelines. They're not rules, they're not laws, but they're going to enforce their interpretation of existing laws, and it's really expanded. And the NADA is fighting it hard. I've been very critical of NADA in the past. I didn't like the past administration at NADA, but I think there's a new wind blowing at NADA. I think Mike Stanton I think they put on their armor, their battle gear, and they're marching to war. Whether they win or not, they're in the fight.
That's good.
Okay, so one thing I can tell you about the Dawg Pound, and you can catch the Dawg Pound at ZieglerOnDemand.com. You can catch all the back issues. This is number 71. 71 times we've done this show. So ZieglerOnDemand.com, it's a free training site. All my videos are there, my complete F&I school, my complete sales manager school, and every one of the 71 editions of the episodes of the Dawg Pound are on that site. Okay, what can you not do and say in a dealership? I see where major dealerships are getting prosecuted for racial discrimination, which I'm not sure that really was racial discrimination. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about violations of the Fair Credit Fair Credit Lending Acts. Max, what do you see out there?
So, before COVID, right, this was pretty common when dealers would get in trouble. Right, because it was super competitive, especially if you take like a Nissan store, right, where they used to have this crazy stair step, and at the end of the month, dealers somehow could justify some form of deceptive advertising to get people in the showroom to see if they can hit their quota. And listen, I'm not making excuses, but this is just reality of pre-COVID car sales. Now, because of COVID, we have these car shortages where the power shifted back to the dealer from the consumer, right? We are at a point where we have less cars than buyers. So in this environment, for dealers to do what they used to do pre-COVID, to me, is completely unjustifiable.
It's not. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Correct. And if you have to do it in this environment, what are you going to do when the inventory comes back? When the same Nissan or Hyundai is going to come out swinging, with a mega stair step program, So if you can't do it now, this is really, really bad news for these guys. Really bad news.
And I'm going to do my best to not let Max get my blood pressure up today, because I am here, like I said, fighting fires. I've already had some wonderful, wonderful situations I've had to remedy this morning. But I'm just going to say this. If you're doing the right things right, you're going to be successful in business, and it shouldn't be a violation. You shouldn't have to worry about it. Now, do people do business that way? Of course they do. I don't work with those kind of dealers, but if you're doing right by your customers, you're doing right by your team, you are going to be running a profitable business. So there should be no reason to do these shady practices.
Well, what shady practices are we
Well,
specifically
Max was
talking
specifically
about?
talking about some, I'm assuming he didn't say the word, but bait and switch advertising
That's
tactics,
right.
right? To get them to come in. And even in some of the things that you can and cannot say, if you have the right, and I'm in North Carolina, so my twang is up, guys. You'll have to bear with me. I've been down here for a few days. It happens. Um, Even when it comes to, and I think, Jim, I don't remember, I thought that was a lawsuit that ended up going against the bank, not the dealer, as far as the name on the contract. I remember there was a news story where they submitted the exact same information with an ethnic name versus a non-ethnic name, and the bank came back with two different calls with the same information. But maybe there's a dealer that I'm not aware of.
Okay, well, it's against the law to redline a customer. Now, let's talk about redlining. Redlining started back in the 40s and 50s when the sales manager at one of the lenders or banks would say, take a red pen on a map and draw a circle around a neighborhood and say, we're not going to finance anything inside the red lines. and that became redlining. We're not going
Well,
to
they just stole that from the mortgage industry, didn't they?
we're not going to finance anybody that lives in these neighborhoods. Okay, so now has it become
Just grab your key. You're on the show. Sorry, guys.
has it become ethnic? Has it become racial? You know, and they say that what we've seen is the big guys on TV there. Okay, so they say
Sorry.
that no problem. So
You want to
they
say
say
hi, mom, right? Like,
yeah, you have a little sign, you know. Anyway, so what they're saying is that minorities pay more for their loans than people and Hispanics. They're saying African Americans and Hispanics have higher loan payments than well, white people, Caucasians. You know what they? No, is that true?
it is 100% true.
Okay, and but
I'm
is
going to
it
even say this, Jim. It's 200% true.
okay?
And it's provable
Is it
mathematically.
but are the dealers
I
marking
don't
it
think it's
up?
the dealers. I don't think it's the dealers,
I think it's
Jim.
both, guys. I think it's both, right? And I think, listen, from compliance perspective, if you don't want to be in this situation, NADA has created a phenomenal fair credit compliance program that you can institute at your dealership, where you as a car dealer make a decision that everybody who you're going to sell cars to and finance them through indirect lending, you're going to mark up, let's say, the rate 2 points, right? And then it doesn't matter if there's a minority in front of you, a woman or an African American or an Asian, right? You present the same sell rate to everybody. And then, according to NADA Fair Credit Compliance Program, you have several, they call them predetermined deviations.
Okay, this is where I wanted this broadcast to go. The Fair Credit Compliance Program from NADA. First of all, you have a set amount of markup. Now, the F&I people are rolling over right now because people negotiate on finance. It's
Yeah, but I think
negotiable.
I know in all of my stores, I default in my desking software the 2-point rate bump. So I
Perfect.
don't have any issues. It's defaulted in the configuration. When they do their first pencil, no matter what program they choose, it's defaulting the 2 points so that we are consistent.
Can
and
anybody get less than that 2 points?
Absolutely.
Oh, no,
Absolutely.
wait a second. Now we're discriminating.
No, no. There are legitimate reasons, and NADA calls them predetermined deviations. For example, let's say I go to Jennifer's store, right? And she quotes me a 2-point markup. And I'm going to say, Jennifer, that's great. But I went to your competitor's store and they said, this is the interest rate. Let's say it's a point less. Now it's up to Jennifer to decide whether she wants to match a competitor's offer or not. So it's completely legitimate for her to say, okay, Max, in order for me to earn your business, I'm going to reduce my interest rate at 1 point to match my competitor to get the deal. Totally fine.
Now, Max, I am a record-setting F&I manager. I mean, you probably heard of me before you met me. And I'm going to tell you right now, I used to call the bank when I had a customer with an 800 credit score. I'd call the bank and I'd get them a rate lower than my rate sheet. I mean,
Right. But this is the lost art of F&I, Jim. Right now, a lot of finance managers unfortunately rely
don't know
on
their
what
job.
the contract spits out, right? It's an algorithm. And they're not trained to pick up the phone, develop a relationship with the buyer or with the credit manager and say, hey, these are the circumstances. This particular person deserves better than your rate sheet.
Right.
You know,
your rate is currently 2.5%. And I have a customer that can get a 1 point rate. Will you do 1.5?
Correct.
And for me, and remember, I'm sales management focused. So the way I've always understood it is if I consistently put out my first pencil, regardless of who the customer is, that is consistent from customer to customer, then we are in compliance.
Well, let me ask you, what do you base your first pencil on?
We have it based on the market. So it doesn't
and
matter.
Wait a minute, that's kind of ethereal. What is the market?
So I have some highline stores in some highline areas. So that rate on the first pencil is going to be different than a subprime store. In a subprime market is what I mean by the market, not market trends, but by
we're
the
getting
actual
into ethnic
discrimination.
No, not based off of that. Based off of historical sales data.
Okay.
To
but
show
also,
what
Jennifer,
that is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But probably in a subprime market, you can't even get to 2 points. The lender is going to limit you. So
I'm like, if I get a service contract on that.
But you
in a subprime market, you're looking at 15%. And I think that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is rate to risk to rate. I mean, think about it. There are tier levels, and the tier levels are based on your past credit performance and the amount of equity you're offering the bank in the deal, cash or trade equity. And, equity also affects interest rate. People don't realize that hey, when you're financing the upside downness of your previous loan into the new loan, your rate's going to be higher. And that is not discriminating against you because of your race or your ethnicity. That's discriminating against you because you didn't put any equity in the deal and you haven't paid your bills in the past.
Well, is that discrimination or is that what we get back from the bank based off
that's coming back from the bank due to a situation? And I'm wondering if these situations are being taken into consideration. Are we discriminating against somebody because a subprime lender is the best we could do for them?
Well, I think here, it's a really gray area because, again, the answer lies in how qualified your finance managers are. Because the difference is a good F&I will be able to take a subprime paper and hang it with a prime bank.
I've done it many times. That was my specialty.
Me too.
As a finance manager, my specialty was getting the hard to get deals put together with traditional lenders and I didn't go subprime. I would put them with a traditional lender.
You want to know what's hilarious?
What?
With mediocre F&Is, right? They end up using, the path of least resistance.
I just had a lender come in, and I'm not going to show you their front side of their business card, but it was so funny because, of course, they've heard we're making some management changes here. And he just come in and dropped his card and introduced himself. And he said, now, listen, I only want prime. Don't send me anything.
I only want prime.
Who doesn't?
Okay, now see, that is a problem. That is a problem in dealership.
This is what I'm saying. It's not the dealers.
Right.
No, that is the dealers. Let me tell you.
Let
Max, hang on a second. The problem is when you have a floor plan with say one of the manufacturer's lenders, and that manufacturer lender doesn't buy deep enough and takes all your prime paper. I don't have any prime paper to leverage the hard to get put together deals with. Because I used to be able to say to a lender, hey, look, I got 3 really super 800 credit scores here, but you're going to take these 3 500s to get them. And I would package them together. But when you have a lender like Jennifer just pointed out, that only wants the prime paper and sucks all your prime paper out of your dealership, and all you've got is crap, you can't get crap bought.
I just need lenders that want to help me sell cars. Don't come in here dictating what type of customers you want. You need to help me get customers in cars, and we'll work with you and we'll do the right thing. And that's what it just frustrates me to all get out, is that what we do is not complicated. It is complicated, but it's simple in the steps. And I believe in what, Max is saying. And we've had a whole show about this, about finance managers not really knowing the role and just selling product and not understanding programs or working the banks to fight for the customers. That is 100% an issue. But even above that, if you don't have general managers or dealer principals that are going to tell this guy where to go, because he doesn't want to help you help all customers.
We only want prime paper. Get out of here. I will drop kick you through the field goals. Get out of my dealership. Excuse me. And see, a lot of the problems today are the markups on products. The markups on products. The Federal Trade Commission is saying that the markups are not consistent. So now Max is a one price sort of guy. And I'm going to get that out before he does.
Right. But listen, I think if you take NADA Fair Credit Compliance Program and apply the same logic to the product sales, you will be in a good place. You can set prices for your products. Because listen, a tire and wheel on a Honda Accord should cost the same whether you sell it to Jennifer, to Jim, or to Max.
Right? On a Honda Accord, yes. But the tire and wheel on a Land Rover.
But again, if we're in a Land Rover store, right, the price of a tire should be the same for Jennifer.
I'm going to disagree with you in one aspect. The starting price should be the same.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
We can negotiate down from there. Now, I have been consulting dealerships on F&I. I've been training F&I for 35 years. I'm the best there is in this market. I'm the best. I'm going to tell you right now. As far as tire and wheel or any of the other products, service contracts mostly, the starting price has to be the same for every customer. But then you go to states like Florida, where it's considered an insurance product.
That's right.
You cannot discount nor mark up a service contract above the stated price.
That's right.
So, and guess what? People pay it because they know that.
But they feel good about it because they know that the next customer,
they got the best deal.
Right, exactly.
They got the best deal. So what I tell dealers is have a set starting price on every product in F&I that is negotiable. A service contract is negotiable. Insurance products are generally not negotiable if they are an insurance product. But if they're a subjective product like GAP is not an insurance in most markets. It's backed by an insurance, but it's not an insurance. Guaranteed asset protection. Okay, I would say we're going to mark it up a set amount or a set percentage. One or the other, a set percentage or a set amount.
And
yes,
document it in your training and your company policies.
In your menu.
Like, come on.
And
CYA, doing the right things right.
And also, it has to make sense, and I'll give you,
and GAP has to make sense.
Everything has to make sense because if you say you were going to mark it up a set amount,
yes.
It might not make sense, right? So, listen.
Now, wait a minute. What do you mean not make sense? Tell me.
Well, let's say you're going to say, Max, we're going to mark up tire and wheel $2,500, right? It will not make sense.
No, that is a deceptive trade practice. That goes again. That becomes one of the 3P. You can't be prejudicial, you can't be predatory, and you can't be discriminatory. Those are the 3 things that make a deceptive trade practice.
Jim, that's exactly my point. It has
that
to
becomes predatory pricing.
So you know, like when Larry Flint went to Supreme Court, right, and asked the judge to define pornography, he said, "I don't know what it is, right? I can't define it, but I know when I see it." Okay, so the same thing, you know, if you're going to mark up a tire and wheel on a Honda Accord, $2,500, you know, just use your brain.
Okay, go back to Gunderson Chevrolet, 1999, when the first time that a dealership, and that was an AutoNation store, by the way, Gunderson Chevrolet of Monte, California, when 20 Department of Motor Vehicle people went in there and took every filing cabinet out of the dealership because Don Poteet, the general man, the F&I manager, was marking up window etch, marking it up $1,500 to non-English speaking Mexicans and on an English contract.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So
and they call that
predatory on top of prejudicial.
What's that?
I said it's predatory on top of prejudicial.
You know,
Yeah.
Guys, if you were a judge in this case, right? Just that's how you look at it. And you know, I come in with a complaint and saying, yeah, you know, I paid $1,500 for an edge policy with a $2,500 benefit. Right? It doesn't matter if you documented this $1,500 markup. Right? The
You can't do predatory pricing.
Right,
and this is the funny thing. The Channel 5 News broke the story that made this thing happen. The Joel Glover, the reporter from Channel 5 Los Angeles, shows up in the showroom with 20 or 30 pissed off Mexicans. And right in the middle of the day, all these Mexicans, it's in the middle of the farming community, you know, so he comes in with 20, 25 pissed off Mexicans shaking fists, and we got cheated. I mean, and then this is running on the 6 o'clock news. So then the Department of Motor Vehicles goes in there with guns drawn, took every computer, every hard drive. They took every deal in transit. All the deal folders went. I mean, and they find that dealership $2.5 million and refunded $2.5 million.
Good. That makes me sick.
Yeah, and I mean and Don Poteet, I understand he jumped in a car and tried to outrun the police, the F&I manager. But five managers went to jail over that. I mean, that's when I started paying attention, when they started putting trainers and employees in jail. You've heard me say before, Jennifer, I don't want to be the bride of Big Bubba.
I don't think I've heard you say that. That must have been a Max thing.
I don't want to be the bride of Big Bubba. I'm not going to jail. No.
And again, for me, it's in every business I've ever been in. Before the car business, it was oil and gas. Before oil and gas, military resale. Like, it doesn't matter who the customer is. If you're, whether it's, you know, just an average consumer or a major company, in order to ensure the stability of your business, you have to do these things right. And too many people fall asleep at the wheel, or what do they call it? Willful negligence, which is even worse from a dealer principal or general manager's perspective. And that's something, you know, right now with the changing of the guards where I'm sitting at right now, going through, looking for the broken checks and balances to make sure that as this new team takes over, they don't have any of these issues and everything is balanced. And we are inspecting what we expect, whether it is the sales desk or the controller inspecting the finance office, to ensure that the dealer principal, who is my client, is protected.
Back in the early 90s, I was the keynote speaker for the first AFIP convention. I was co-keynote speaker with Pat Riley, the basketball coach.
Oh, I didn't know you shared a stage with Pat Riley before.
I mean, we were like, when you say shared a stage, we were dual podiums. I mean,
how did I not know this?
Well, I'm an amazing man. But anyway,
I mean, I know. I've seen the script, the scrapbooks, and I've interviewed you, and I'm just finding this out.
Yeah, Pat Riley and I were the co-keynote speakers at the very first AFIP. It was at the Mirage in Las Vegas. And we have an association of F&I professionals. Now, they will tell you legal compliance, and they're not going to teach you how to sell F&I. They really don't. But they talk about legal compliance and what you can and cannot do. And that can, coupled with the NADA program, which is what, Max?
The name of
The
it
NADA
again?
Compliance program.
Okay, the NADA Credit Compliance Program. If you are a car dealer or a general manager, pay attention. That compliance program is something you need to get your people on. How can they learn about that, Max?
So really, all you have to do is Google it, and you can download a PDF from NADA's website, and just make sure it goes in every folder. It's very simple. It's self-explanatory. The finance manager puts the predetermined rate markup. And then if there's a deviation, I think there are 7 deviations that are allowed by NADA. You have to choose the reason why you discounted the rate. And then a compliance officer signs the form. The customer does not, this is not a customer facing form. This is a purely internal form.
Gotcha.
And you keep it in every folder. It doesn't need to go into a lease folder or a cash folder, only on finance. And that's it, right? And Jim, I'm going to say this. I am twice AFIP certified.
Okay.
And it's a phenomenal program. The only problem with it is that it's voluntary.
Okay, so we don't, you're going to go back. I bet you're going to, let me do a crystal ball here.
100%.
Licensing F&I managers,
100%.
licensing F&I managers. Okay,
Yes.
is that where you're headed?
Absolutely. And I think it's the right move. And listen, there's a reason why we have licensing for doctors and attorneys. It makes it harder to enter the profession. It allows the licensed professionals to make good money, right? And to do it correctly. So I don't understand why a finance manager would be against it, or why a dealer principal would be against it.
I know I
Well,
certainly wouldn't.
That's it.
Okay, well, since we're not doing that, let's talk about markup on a service contract. And, you know, do we do predatory pricing on service contracts? I saw a service contract sold for $32,000 once.
Kind of car.
A Hummer, H1 Hummer.
Was it in a movie or something?
No, it was in Texas. It was at a Hummer dealership when Hummer had a lot of standalone stores, and GMAC was the lender at the time, and GMAC had a thing where they said you could mark up a service contract 300 or 400% of its cost. And the cost of that was a $8,000 service contract, was the cost on the H1 Hummer.
Because you're talking about H1. This is
Yeah.
a really, really expensive
big-
truck.
Yeah. So the H1 Hummer was an $8,000 service contract cost, and they sold it for $32,000. And GMAC carried the paper. They financed it. Biggest F&I deal I ever saw, and the biggest chargeback I ever saw.
But the question is, Jim, how much did they sell the car for?
Oh, I'm sure the car went for over $100,000. I don't recall, but yeah.
Because listen, I'll give you the best example, right? When I go to buy a TV at Best Buy, right? They use a very simple formula. A service contract on a TV at Best Buy is 20% of MSRP. That's it, right? We in car dealerships never ever, I don't think, sell service contracts for 20% of MSRP. Very rarely it happens, right? It's usually
No.
It's usually way less.
Right.
So to get to
A
the
service contract is a great deal.
It is a great deal, but
It is a bargain in the car dealership.
But it's a great deal at 20% of MSRP, and we can never get there. So I don't think dealers are guilty of some kind of a predatory practice when it comes to marking up VSCs. Because listen, in normal environment, it's the bank who's going to limit your advance on the VSC anyway. in their program.
The bank limits, of course, the bank will cut you back. That's a fact.
That's
Now,
right.
when I was interviewed by 60 Minutes, Steve Croft interviewed me about abuses in Memphis, Tennessee. This was, and believe it or not, this was Penske dealerships, and this was a discrimination charge where there were actually people picketing the dealership for racial discrimination. It was a Toyota store in Memphis, and I was interviewed by Steve Croft on 60 Minutes, and I was there to defend dealers and that we were, not that way. But still, in all,
One bad apple doesn't spoil the whole bunch.
I saw some of those deals, and they were making $25,000 in the F&I department on a single car.
In a Toyota store?
Yeah, and Toyota Credit was carrying that paper.
But shame on them, right? Shame on Toyota dealership and shame on Toyota captive. I mean,
yeah,
it makes it a real battle for those of us trying to, and we're in business, guys. I'm not talking about giving cars or giving products away. We make profits by taking great care of our customers, right? I think if you're really trying to make more profit from your finance products, start reinsuring them. Don't rip off the consumers in your community.
I have always taught
I'm gonna calm myself down.
ethical
That's all right.
F&I. I've always taught ethical F&I. Jennifer, that big guy wants to get in the office.
He sure
behind
does.
you.
He needs my help. He's one of our new sales managers.
let him in. We'll watch you work. I don't mind.
Oh, I think he needs me at the desk.
Oh, does he need you?
Well, I put him on mute because I thought we got the second set of keys are in this office as well. So I thought he was just trying to get in and grab some keys to deliver a car, but he's like, so they need me at the desk. But
oh golly, I hate to lose you on the broadcast. We got
I mean, he should be okay.
it's not hard to be a sales manager now. Just tell him. We used to tell him sticker is quicker, right? But now
he's working all new desking software and all new.
Forget the software. Walk the customer to the car. So you see the price.
Just get out a green Sharpie. We'll be fine.
have
no, actually, we're so excited to have him. He's a 14-year veteran right here in this community of another store. We're so excited to have him. So
I'll tell you, it's amazing. F&I has changed, as Max said. Nobody knows how to hang a deal anymore. Nobody. I spent 2 hours or 3 hours in my F&I school, my 3-day F&I school, hours on just how to talk to the lenders.
Well, and now they're not
reason to get them licensed.
That would put together some curriculum and training, because we had a whole show about this before, where there are certain people that are advocating to not teach your finance managers that, and only teach them to present a menu of products and not teach them anything about actually working the
Then
bank.
you can't call them finance managers. You have to call
That's
them
what I said, Max. But
aftermarket managers, right?
Because Jennifer, you've been through my F&I school.
I sure have.
And so have I.
Yeah, matter of fact, Max has attended my F&I school.
That's right.
I forgot that. Max was dumb as a brick before he went in that school.
I was just so sad I had to attend it virtually, because I had been and right before everything happened with the cancer, you were going to do an on-site in Indianapolis, and I was planning on going. So, but I enjoyed the virtual class.
I mean, I did it live. I did both F&I and sales managers.
You did my sales manager school too. Yes, you did. I forgot.
So let me ask: is there a recording on the Ziegler on Demand on the platform there that has an old school Max on video during one of your?
It gotta have that video.
I believe Max is in one of the videos. I know Patrick O'Brien is in one of the videos.
Yeah.
Attending my F&I school in Indianapolis. Yeah. And anybody that really wants to see my F&I school, it's right there,
And
Ziegler On
please,
Demand, the complete school.
and I encourage people all of the time, and I think it is fantastic what you have done with Ziegler On Demand when so many other trainers or consultants are charging dealership employees for this type of education and training. I love that you have just put yours out there for people to use at no cost. So
It's
really
free.
there's no excuse to not do this the right way, folks, because you don't even have to pay for something super expensive. Now, Max, I do agree with you on the licensure. I got it. Yes, 100%.
I actually agree with Max on that. But my God, all three of us are agreeing with Max.
No, come on. You better be
Yeah.
recording this.
Oh, it's what? How is that even possible?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Max
But
on
if you're
licensing.
watching this live or in replay, what doesn't matter if you are, a sales manager, a salesperson looking to move up, finance manager, general manager, dealer, principal, or maybe you're just thinking about buying a dealership, please go to Ziegler On Demand and get your team to do the same thing. Why would you ignore a 100% free resource that's going to put more money to the bottom line of your financial statement? That doesn't make no sense.
Oh, thank you for that, because I charge people $10,000 a day to visit your dealership, plus first class travel. I don't fly in the back of no plane, and I didn't know goes on back there, But Ziegler On Demand, I put my best training material, my sales manager schools on there, my dealer principal and general manager trainings on there.
Yeah.
And
I tell people all the time, and even these are even people who are paying me day rates to come in and train. But on top of that, because here's one of the things that I believe is amazing about our business is that if you are willing to put in the work, you will be successful. So I give your Ziegler On Demand as homework to people. Because if you go and you actually utilize the content and go through the courses that you have on there, that shows me you are willing to invest in your success, because the dealer is the one who pays for me when I come in. But what investment a manager makes in themselves or a salesperson makes in themselves is all the difference.
Well, I've got my complete F&I school. I've got my 50 best F&I closes as one of the videos, to give you an example.
And that's so relevant to this, because if you are doing it the right way, the way Jim teaches and has taught for years, ethical F&I, again, there's no excuse. Don't do it the wrong way. Here's a free resource for you to watch on the weekends or at night or however you want to do it, that people used to pay thousands of dollars to go to this training. There's no excuse. And you can still make money and win for your customers.
I'm about high profitability, but you don't have to lie, cheat, sneak, deceive, or misrepresent to sell finance, do you, Max?
No.
You don't. But I want to make this comment, that, car dealerships are no different than any other organizations, right? Where the culture trickles down. So if the dealer principal puts emphasis on education, then it will trickle down. Unfortunately, especially in this environment where cars sell themselves, right? Many dealer principals, and again, I want to emphasize, unfortunately, completely disregard training, right? And it goes for F&I as well, not just for sales training. So these are the dealers that will pay a heavy price down the road.
Yes, they will.
Because you have to do it now, especially in F&I, because listen, I make a living by selling F&I products, right? And I can tell you that the current environment with the inventory shortage really changed the dynamic for the front end of the deal.
Oh, absolutely.
But it didn't change the dynamic for the back end of the deal.
No.
So if you stop training the back end, if you stop training your finance managers, you're really missing a boat.
How important is the menu?
Listen, a menu is a phenomenal sales tool, right? Because there is no law on the books that says that you have to use a menu.
No, there isn't. No.
But making sure that you use a menu allows you to track performance of your finance managers.
Right.
And you can get really sophisticated, right? You can track the usage. You can track how much time they spend on every product presentation by recording their keystrokes. You can do many, many things. And of course, most importantly, you can cover your ass.
Whether
right?
it's electronic menu, a paper menu, I never want to ever say that I said Reynolds and Reynolds was great, but that DocuPad is a tremendous tool.
Yeah, any electronic menu, Max and
I like
Track.
their key track systems too. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, but you can cover your ass because a real menu has to show a base payment without the product.
And a base interest rate.
That's right. And then it has to show you the final payment after the customer selects the product. So not only that the customer has
It documents disclosure.
Right. And the initial next to the products that they
Max, there are F&I managers out there who refuse to use the menu and dealers that refuse to make them use the menu.
But that's my point about the culture. It trickles down. If
Right.
I'm a finance manager, why would I use a menu if the dealer doesn't want me to use a menu?
Well, the thing about it is the menu will not ensure that you are compliant, but not using the menu ensures that you have no proof that you were compliant.
Right.
It documents
Well, that's what
compliance.
help you
And the other thing, Max, before you say what you're about to say, the other thing is you need to sign waivers, releases, and hold harmless agreements on products customers don't buy.
That's right. But this is what Jennifer was saying in the beginning, that you have to inspect what you expect,
Absolutely.
right? So the menu usage allows you to inspect what you expect in terms of product presentation and product penetration. So if you choose not to use the menu, you are limiting your own ability to manage your finance department. And therefore, you're limiting your ability to make real money.
Whether it's a paper menu or an electronic menu, I don't care.
Right. And I want to remind everybody, right, that pre-COVID, you made all the money in F&I, right?
Mhm.
You couldn't make $1 selling a new car. Statistically, dealers lost over $200 per sale nationwide.
I would tell you, I was looking at an invoice yesterday where invoice is higher than MSRP.
Yes.
Right.
Invoice was higher than MSRP.
I was wait a minute. I thought I had
Ford,
my
look
contacts
at
in
Ford
backwards.
Bronco, for heaven's sake.
Well, I'm not in a Ford store this week. So.
Yeah, I know, but anyway, all the things we're talking about are in my F&I textbook. You can buy the F&I textbook. It's a download. ZieglerAutofinance.com. So anyway, the menu, Max, what is the benefit of the menu other than legal compliance?
It's a management tool.
Well, but it makes the F&I manager present every product to every customer every time.
And it allows you as the executive manager or dealer principal to hold your finance department accountable. And listen, if you're not going, let's take any product, I don't know, key replacement, right? If you're not presenting key replacement, what makes you think that you're going to sell it? Well, you honestly think that the customer is going to say, no, Jim, Jen, I'm not leaving your office without key replacement.
Okay,
now,
well,
in some
first
states,
of
they
all,
will do that with tire and wheel, but I've never heard anybody say that with key replacement.
Right. So it's in your best interest to make sure that they use the menu the way Jim described, using the 300% rule. Where you present every product to every customer every time. So again, shame on you for not using a menu. And I'm completely menu agnostic. I don't care what menu you use. Any menu
I don't.
is better than no menu.
Now, one thing, and Max, don't jump in on this until I point you out. Now, a lot of dealers sell maintenance contracts, maintenance agreements, oil changes, tire rotations, all the standard maintenance on a car. Now, if you're selling the factory brand OEM program, there is a thing like I had a Audi here a couple of years ago. You rode in that car, Jennifer. Yes, you did.
We got pulled over in that car.
Yeah, we got pulled over in my Audi. So I had an Audi Q9, and I had a maintenance contract on it from Audi of America Volkswagen. So I had this maintenance contract, but I sold the car early. I bailed out of the lease. So I went to get a refund on my maintenance contract, and they said there are no maintenance contract refunds. But I didn't use all the oil changes. I didn't use all that stuff. But no, Mr. Expert, Mr. King of F&I, Ziegler, I couldn't get a refund. And I come to find out the OEMs, they look at something that people, they call it forfeiture.
Yeah.
Forfeiture is when the customer forfeits the benefit and they keep the money.
Yeah. In
why
other industries,
why
it's called
aren't
flippage.
dealers private labeling that? Why are you letting the manufacturer collect forfeiture?
One more reason.
That's why we need to be. Now, is reinsurance a good idea, Max?
So on the prepaid maintenance, reinsurance is not a good idea because there's really no risk. But a private label prepaid maintenance program guarantees two things.
Not reinsurance, but private label. Okay.
Private label.
Yeah, it guarantees two things.
Do you administer those? Or is that one of the products you administer?
Yes, sir.
Call Max.
And this is a constant battle, right? Because I have to convince dealers of these two simple facts of life. If you sell a private label, dealer-owned prepaid maintenance, it can only be used at your dealership. When you when you bought an Audi prepaid maintenance, it allows you to go to any Audi dealership.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I was getting it serviced at Rick Case. I bought it from Jim Ellis.
Exactly. So if you do a private label, you basically tripling your service retention on prepaid maintenance. You're allowing your service advisors to build a relationship with these customers.
What kind of dumbass dealer is not private labeling their maintenance?
I'm going to say a majority of dealers are not private labeling their prepaid maintenance.
How much money are they're losing a fortune by not private labeling prepaid maintenance.
Right. So that's the first point. And the second point is exactly what you mentioned. It's the forfeiture. If the customer doesn't use all the benefits, the dealer gets to keep the premium dollars. Whereas in your case, Audi corporate kept the premium dollars, not the dealer, and definitely not you.
Right.
No, Audi kept the money. The dealer didn't get it. I certainly didn't get a refund. No.
Right. So
Jennifer, what do you think?
Here's what I think. I think that all falls into it as a business owner, right? And again, we want to make money. Why would you not take advantage of some of these programs? And I've been at dealer association conferences where they're specifically bringing people like Max or other companies that provide these services to help the dealer create a new profit center. I get it in times when you're trying to maximize the bottom line, but you can do it the right way instead of allowing your team to do shady things like we started this conversation out on. So it's not that, and maybe they don't know, but I mean, we talk about it a lot. Like I try to talk about this because I just like to make money. So it's a matter of making sure that you have everything in your organization structured properly. And if you have these types of services, the white label or reinsurance on other products, and you have that profit center, and then you have it structured properly inside of your finance so that you have the accountability and that you're inspecting what you expect to cover your katukas when it comes to compliance, you're still actually, I think in the scenario Max is talking about, you're making more money than shady practices in the box. And there's no risk.
And I'll tell you even more. When you create your own private label maintenance program, you actually get to create it. You can put in it anything that you want. For example, maybe you guys include a free car wash with every service. And OEM doesn't do that, right? So,
I don't know if that's how you spell katukas, but yeah.
Probably not. But basically, you can create your own program that your customers will know is only good at your store and really get something that they couldn't get elsewhere. So to me, it's a no-brainer, and it's a fight that I battle almost every day in my professional life, because I just don't, like I said before, Jim, unfortunately, majority of dealers across the country, across the franchise lines, do not use private label prepaid maintenance.
I can't believe that. And I know you administered that, and let's be fair, but that's business Max is in, and I'm in business with him on that. If you buy it,
But forget you and I, Jim. Forget it.
Yeah,
Right. It's just there are,
yeah. Well,
Max
I want to
didn't invent it.
disclose that.
I don't think.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, look at it as a dealer. What's
Yeah.
the argument not to do it?
Absolutely. So, so many dealers are not doing a lot of the things we talk about. We started out talking about compliance, and the consumer credit counseling interview. One of the strongest things that you can train an F&I manager to do. The consumer credit counseling interview. Nobody does it. How can you get deals approved if you don't have the information?
Right. Character.
You know why nobody does it, Jim? Because you have to get up, right? You have to leave your office. You have to go to the showroom. You have to speak to the customers. And if you are super lazy and your dealership has this culture that rewards this type of laziness, right? Why would you do it?
The consumer credit counseling interview. I mean, that was the one thing that got more deals approved for me than any other thing. Because when I talked to the credit supervisor, I had the information, the 4 C's of credit. Why are deals turned down? Because of capacity, poor credit, character, and what was the fourth one? I forgot myself.
But Jim, this is
I think it's cash, right? No,
cash, collateral. Well, collateral, yeah.
But
Collateral.
this is why you are above average finance manager. That's why I was talking about in the beginning, right? Unfortunately, majority of these guys are mediocre. And mediocrity prevents you from taking an extra step, prevents you from getting up and doing,
Well, they're being trained by mediocre trainers.
Or working for mediocre.
Or not at all.
Excuse me, Max?
You can be working for mediocre dealer principals.
Yeah, but there are so many mediocre trainers out there. I was watching some hillbilly the other day on YouTube trying to tell people how to do finance and how to do management. And if he ever managed a dealership, I couldn't believe it. But
that's kind of why I always just say I just sell cars. Like, I think a lot of these people, it's an ego stroke. And unfortunately, with today's social media capacities, if they blow their own horn enough, some poor schmuck is going to believe it and pay them to come in and then put them in a compliance nightmare.
100%.
Okay, so I am so glad we got the 3 of us really boiled this thing down, didn't we?
I think we did.
I think you agreed with Max more than I've ever seen you agree.
And I appreciate it because I did. Listen, I've already had my blood pressure up really high today. So before 10 o'clock,
we kept it in check, right? We kept it in check.
We did. I appreciate that. I think my family does. Got to keep that health in check. So.
Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, I have probably I haven't even measured my blood pressure this week because when Facebook changed the algorithm and I had all this broadcasts coming up, and I make my living on Facebook. To be real honest with you, this is my way of communicating my business. And Facebook changed their algorithm, and none of the platforms could get a pre-announcement on. So I had to go to my YouTube platform and Twitch and Twitter. And by the way, we're broadcasting on Twitter now. You aware of that?
Well, I think you'd mentioned that you were going to do Twitter. So
I've got 25,000 friends and followers on Twitter. We just picked up additional audience. So,
I didn't even realize you could live stream on Twitter until you had mentioned that a few weeks ago.
I didn't know it either. That's why I didn't do it. Now we're live on Twiter. And
listen, forget Twitter. I want to know about being live on Twitch.
I'm going to go find it.
Okay, that's only for SEO purposes, Max.
Well, I tell you, I think
get on Twitch.
Well, but
Yeah.
if we start looking at some of these younger employees, that is something they're active on. So I'm glad that we're there, not just for SEO purposes, but to try to branch out to get this messaging to the
But
next
we
generation.
are on Twitch. I mean,
Made my day. I mean, I don't even know how to get on Twitch.
oh god. But anyway, yeah, we are on Twitch. And you can find me on Twitter at Jim Ziegler. That's easy.
How do we
Jim
find you on
Ziegler.
Twitch? How do we find you on Twitch?
I forget my.
I've never even been on there yet. I'm going to go set one up.
I forget. How do you find me on Twitch? I gotta look that one up. I signed up
listen,
for it.
everybody knows how to find you on Twitter, right? But how do we find you on Twitch?
Okay, I'm Alpha Dawg 1947. Alpha DAWG 1947.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Very good.
Alpha Dawg 47 on Twitch. 1947, yeah. Okay, this has been one heck of an informative broadcast, and I had more fun with this one than a lot of them. Wave at the audience.